What up? We back with another episode of Ness-XT, starring me, your boy True Hill Ness. Again, I hope everyone's doing well during these trying times, everything going on in the world. But I also hope that this will be a little bit of an escape from everything that's going on in the world. We can just enjoy a little bit of wrestling, what's going on. So we're here to review the April 22nd episode of NXT, and let's just get right into it, man. So the show started off showing that Finn Balor, who was supposed to meet Velveteen Dream in the main event of this week's episode of NXT, has just disappeared. The nigga's gone. Can't nobody find him. They don't know whether if, Balor's just doing this just to be doing this shit, trying to get in Velveteen Dream's head, or is this the work of Velveteen Dream, who obviously ain't feeling Balor after having him interrupt his promo last week that was aimed at towards Adam Cole. So that was just it. Like, that was just it. Velveteen Dream don't know what the fuck's going on, so he comes out, trying to make sense of what is going on. In the middle of, while he's talking, out comes Adam Cole. He's interrupted by Adam Cole, and eventually he's attacked by the rest of the members of Undisputed Era that are actually, still coming to work. Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong. We want to say, hope everything's well with Kyle O'Reilly. He's not been on NXT and won't be for the foreseeable future with everything going on. He's vulnerable to the coronavirus, so he obviously does not need to be at any tapings or be a live show. He doesn't need to be anywhere but home and safe. So, going on with this segment, with Velveteen Dream being outnumbered and outmanned, he reluctantly has a friend in North American champion Keith Lee, who's also had his run of issues with the Undisputed Era this year. So as Keith Lee comes out, helps Velveteen Dream fend off the Undisputed Era, the match that was supposed to take place with Velveteen Dream versus Finn Balor is now Velveteen Dream and Keith Lee versus Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. But that's made for the main event. So, moving on. The first actual official match on this night's episode of NXT was Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox versus Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. I mentioned in the last episode how last week's episode, I mentioned in the last episode of Ness-XT how last week's episode of NXT, everything going on with Raquel Gonzalez and Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai and Shotzi Blackheart, it's all intertwined. They're all being added to the story. First it was Tegan and Dakota, and then Raquel Gonzalez was added as Dakota's backup, and when Dakota came to blows with Shotzi Blackheart, Raquel Gonzalez interjected herself in that match as well. So this all is continuity and keeping their stories going. There's two different stories at first, but they're all intertwining into one, and I really like that subtlety, and it makes a lot of sense. The match itself, was alright. Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart worked extremely well together, but the experience that Dakota and Raquel Gonzalez have together couldn't be overmatched. They eventually pick up the win. Raquel Gonzalez hits Shotzi Blackheart with a one-arm powerbomb, and she picks up the win. Again, it really wasn't a bad match. It just wasn't anything like over the top, which again, it doesn't need to be all the time. Also, again, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez had the experience of being an actual team and actually, working together on multiple occasions over Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart. So I like to see where they go from here, you know. Also, I actually like that Raquel Gonzalez was the one that pinned Shotzi Blackheart, because it was Shotzi Blackheart last week interjecting herself in the match for Tegan Knox's backup, you know, taking out Dakota Kai, distracting Raquel Gonzalez for her to get pinned with roll-up by Tegan Knox. Now this week, you know, Raquel Gonzalez gets that payback back, you know, and I think it worked well. She was pinned last week, you know. She's taking a loss. I really don't think she was taking a loss, but it made sense in the loss, so, you know, I can't be mad at that. But this week, she regains a win and gets a little bit of her credibility back. So this definitely makes sense as far as booking. Moving on. Next match on the card is Drake Maverick versus Jake Atlas. This was a match in the NXT Interim Cruiserweight Championship Tournament, where they're looking for, again, a Cruiserweight champion for the interim as everything is going on in the world. Also, Drake Maverick was, you know, released as a number of people that were released from WWE. You know, again, a lot of the stuff going on. People needed to be cut, budget cuts. They really didn't need to make budget cuts, but you know how that goes. Drake Maverick was one of the people released, and it sucks because he had this storyline going that he was going to have to be in the NXT Cruiserweight tournament. You know, he had a heartfelt. I don't know if this is gonna. I don't know if this is a shoot. I don't know if this will work. It seems like it's a work now, but it might be real. Who knows? You know, Drake posted a really heartfelt video on, you know, social media, on Twitter, about being released. You know, like, that's all he wants to do is wrestle. You know, and despite WWE keeping him in the tournament, you know, which he is grateful for that he has to go out there and he has to win. You know, he has to show, like, he needs this. He says he needs this. And far as whether it being real or not, people are gonna resonate with that. You know, the underdog story, the you know, everything surrounded by it is just gonna touch people. In my opinion, my personal opinion. The match itself, it was a decent match. Jake Atlas, I'm not really familiar with, but he went out there and showed that, you know, he's an NXT signee, a new recruit, and he's going to go out there and make his name for himself. Also, while Drake Maverick is going to go out there and he's not going to just sit down and settle for being released. You know, he's going out there to try to, he's going to try out there and win the whole thing. The end of this match came down to Drake Maverick tried to hit a top rope Frankensteiner on Jake Atlas. He misses the move. Then Jake Atlas hits a cartwheel DDT that was fucking beautiful. That was like one of the most innovative moves I've seen in a while. And I'm highly a fan of that finisher. Jake Atlas picks up the win. So now he has a victory in his group. And while obviously Drake Maverick has a loss, you know, and that's why I think, you know, the underdog story is going to come out. He might be able to pull off 2 more wins. You know, you never know. You never know what's going to go on. But I think this is a story that's going to move into him being brought back into the company somehow. He might not win the whole tournament and be NXT Cruiserweight champion, but he's definitely going to, like, they're not going to get rid of him. They wouldn't do all this just to get rid of him, you know, like. But it was a very good match, so go out, check it out if you haven't yet. There was a Damian Priest promo, just pretty much Priest saying that, you know, that Keith Lee has given title opportunities to guys he know he can beat, you know, and kind of funny. I don't 100% agree with that, but, you know, he made some valid points during the promo. So next week will be Keith Lee defending his North American Championship against Damian Priest. So the next match on the card is another NXT Cruiserweight title tournament match. And this match was Kushida versus Tony Nese. This match was just as good, or in my opinion, better than Drake Maverick versus Jake Atlas. There was a lot more technical prowess to this match with Kushida and Tony Nese. You know, in my opinion, those two being, not that there's nothing wrong with Jake Atlas and Drake Maverick, but these two are just better in-ring competitors in my opinion. The match was very hard-hitting. It was very competitive. Kushida worked on the arm of the left arm of Tony Nese for pretty much a good halfway of the match. There was one spot where Kushida tries to lock on the hoverboard lock, and he had it for a little bit, but Tony Nese just hits him with a modified version of a Northern Light suplex. You know, just showing his strength and power, and I think that was a very good, one of the better spots in that match. So Nese actually gets hit with the hoverboard lock once again from the top turnbuckle, and he, you know, succumbs to all the work that Kushida was doing on his left arm throughout the match and finally taps. Again, I think this might have been the match of the night in my opinion, because it was, again, a lot of action, and both guys went out there and put on a match. Both guys went out there saying, hey, look, this is for the, you know, the Cruiserweight Championship. Tony Nese being a former Cruiserweight champion. Kushida being one of the best juniors in the world, you know. If you don't know his history by now, I've talked about it multiple times on the show. So Kushida is Cruiserweight wrestling, you know. Not just high flying, but he can strike. He has mat wrestling. He can throw in submissions. So he embodies everything that cruiserweights can do. And even though I'm going for El Hijo del Fantasma, I wouldn't be mad if Kushida won the whole thing. So moving on, this video promo from Johnny and Candice Gargano was fucking excellent. This might have been one of the best video or just segment promos in NXT in a long time. Johnny Gargano just talking about how, you know, he's trying to be this cookie cutter guy, doing everything by the books for NXT, just to keep coming up short every time he was trying to be that good guy. And now that he's going to take things into his own hands and make NXT work for him instead of the other way around. And right back at it, Candice, she makes the same, you know, how they both were just these good guys and good girls that was trying to do everything that they thought would be the right way to put them where they needed to be in NXT, while everybody around them that was cutting corners and taking shortcuts were getting everything that they wanted, you know. First of all, as good as this segment was, it started off with the cup that Gargano used in his match against Tommaso Ciampa. That's the centerpiece for their dinner. They're having dinner, you know, and that's the centerpiece. That was, as disgusting as that was. It was a nice subtle touch. I don't know. It was just funny. But again, both of them were making sense, you know. Like, they tried to do everything by the book and just kept coming up short. So now they're just going to go out there and be for themselves and only worry about themselves. And Johnny Gargano proclaimed that they'll be the first husband and wife NXT champion and women's champion. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if it comes up later in the year. That's something that needs to happen. In my personal opinion, that's something that needs to happen. It's never happened before. Johnny Gargano Candice Gargano, Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling reigning supreme with a reign of terror over the NXT locker room. That's definitely something worth seeing. Next on the card was a video package promo, whatever the fuck you want to call it, for Io Shirai. She won the NXT 6 Women's Ladder match to gain the chance to face, Charlotte Flair sometime down the line. Really didn't even explain that. Again, I don't know if it's like a Money in the Bank thing, or she just has the briefcase just to say she has the briefcase. So she's just basically saying she can't, like, she wants to face Charlotte Flair, and she's going to show that she bows to no one. So moving on. Next match on the card was Mia Yim versus Jessie Kamea. This was pretty much, again, another squash match. I didn't even know this chick, Jessie Kamea, was on the NXT roster. She's been there since 2017. I had no idea, at all, that she was there. So, with Mia Yim defeats Kamea with the protecting neck. Obviously, she's not going to lose to her. So out comes the reigning NXT Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. She goes on to talk about how when she first debuted in NXT, her first match was against none other than Mia Yim. So she wants to give Mia Yim a shot at the women's title. But then, she's pretty much doing it in a condescending way. Pretty much saying that she took that match when they first had it, like all those years ago, and became a star. Now she wants to do the same for Mia Yim. Pretty much saying that she ain't shit, she's nobody right now. And then that Charlotte will be the individual to make her somebody. Mia Yim is a somebody, first of all, but she's not Charlotte Flair. So that's pretty much what she was getting at. Like, I got that, but like, damn, she was like, yeah, I'll give you a shot. Now I can help you out, and you can finally fucking beat somebody. And it's like, damn, But, again, that's going to make for a good story. That's continuity. We like that in NXT. We like when shit makes sense and you bring it up, So, their match is next week, actually. The next week's episode of NXT. Moving on, there was a Robert Stone brand vignette about Chelsea Green, whatever. Say she has a total package, brains, beauty, brawn, all that shit. Who gives a shit? I'm still not sold on her. And I really don't care. This Robert Stone brand shit is dumb. This nigga has a whole brand and only got one person under his belt. Moving on. Next match on the card was Jack Gallagher versus El Heel Del Fantasma, formerly known as King Cuerno on Lucha Underground. This again was another solid match. I expected a lot more out of this match, to be completely honest. Not that it was bad, but it just didn't wow me the way that I was expecting and the way I wanted it to. El Heel Del Fantasma, he hits two of his signature moves. He hits the arrow from the depths of hell. It's pretty much a rebounding suicide dive that he hits, like a flying headbutt type of thing. And then he also won the match with his signature move, the Thrill of the Hunt, which is basically a Samoan driver. Now we're going to move on to something more interesting about El Hijo del Fantasma that I personally thought was going on. For the past couple episodes in NXT, there were two people that were abducted by men in mass. First was Raul Mendoza, and then more recently it was Joaquin Wilde. I honestly thought that El Hijo del Fantasma was the one behind this, but those same men in mass tried to abduct him as well. He did better than the other two guys I mentioned, because he fought these guys off. They run off. He's like, yeah, I'm Mexico. I got Mexican pride, whatever. So, but who knows? That might just be a cover-up, to make it seem like he has nothing to do with it. But again, I was looking forward to see if he was behind it. As of right now, that's what it looks like he's not. But again, they can always hit us with a swerve. You never know. So, but again, the match itself was alright. I was expecting more, but we'll see as the tournament goes on. Alright, so now into the main event. Velveteen Dream and Keith Lee versus Undisputed Era, Roger Strong and Adam Cole with Bobby Fish at ringside. All-out brawl just starts the match. Like, they just start throwing hands. It ain't even wrestling right now. We just rumbling. The bell doesn't start. The bell doesn't ring. Everybody's just getting their shit in. So while the referee is trying to tend to Bobby Fish, he's trying to bar him from ringside, out of nowhere comes Damian Priest with a nightstick, and he attacks Keith Lee, hitting him in his throat twice with a nightstick, leaving Keith Lee just laid out. Now, at this point, Keith Lee was supposed to be helping Velveteen Dream in this tag match, so Dream's just like, whatever, I gotta go at it alone. So he starts the match off it starts off as a handicap match. As the match goes on, unbeknownst to no one, the help that comes to that Velveteen Dream is none other than Dexter Lumis. Kind of strange, Dexter Lumis been having these squash matches. Really hasn't been doing too much far as like storyline. He's just having his matches and going along. But, he comes out to help Velveteen Dream. Again, this is another thing. You don't know which way they're going to go with it. Is Dexter Lumis, going to be a face helping fight off Undisputed Era? Or is this just a way to find, or to get into Velveteen Dream's head? Both Velveteen Dream and Dexter Lumis both have that, certain vibe about them that, you can't feel them out 100%. But, whatever it was, whatever the case may be, the team of Dexter Lumis and Velveteen Dream win after Dexter Lumis, Dexter Lumis, I think he had a Uranagi on Adam Cole, but then Velveteen Dream hits the Purple Rainmaker on Adam Cole and picks up the win. So, all in all, this was this week's episode of NXT. A lot more action compared to the week before, in my personal opinion. The matches were a little bit better. The NXT Cruiserweight tournament matches made up for most of the show, and which I feel that was a good element, because these are guys that really aren't getting like that much shine on the show. As far as, a lot of 205 Live guys, which could all just be used on NXT anyway, but, it was a decent show. Nothing too crazy to write home about. But, again, my match of the night, Kushida versus Tony Nese. Definitely, if you didn't watch that match, go out of your way to see that match. It's very great. And that was this week's episode of Ness-XT. We'll be back following next week's episode of NXT, and I think I might go into reviewing another show, 205 Live. I think I might give it a crack at it. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the NXT Cruiserweight tournament, and I think I might as well just go there for the action. I like the in-ring competitiveness. Storylines might not be there so much, but I'm an in-ring guy first, anything else second. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you for tuning in this week. We'll be back next week.